Okay, so then we do problem number 1. The name of the place value of the number 2, so let's look at the number 2 here. And the number is, well, this is the tens place. And so the answer is B. A, not B. The answer is A. Write 4,000 and 20 tenths, hundredths, thousandths in numericals. And so numerals. So this is 20 tenths, hundredths, thousandths. And so in this case, actually, I guess it is A. So that's 40 and 20 thousandths, the same as 40 and 2 hundredths. Then we do problem number 3, the decimal 455.3438, rounded to the nearest thousandths, so tenths, hundredths, thousandths. The digit immediately to its right is an 8, which is greater than or equal to 5. Therefore, I'll round this to 455.344, and so that is D. Let me look at problem number 4. Don measured the mass of a rock and found that the mass is about 10.2439 to the nearest hundredth. What is the mass of the rock? And so tenths, hundredths. And so the digit immediately to its right is a 3, which is less than 5. Therefore, this is approximately 10.24. And so C. Let me do problem number 5. Negative 9.2 plus a negative 5.6. Well, the sum of this is going to be negative. 2 plus 6 is 8. 9 plus 5 is 14. So a negative 14.8. Let me do problem number 6. The sum of 2, 3, 1.3, 21.0201, 32.6771, 10.001. Let me add some extra zeros here so I can line up things. So let's add this. So that'll be a 2, 8, 9, 9.4, 9, 2. And I want to round this to the nearest unit. And so 9 is greater than or equal to 5. Therefore, I'll round this to 295. And so the answer is A. Let me do problem number 7. The difference of 25.32 16.88. So let's subtract. Well, 2 is less than 8, so I'll have to borrow 1 from the 3. 12 minus 8 is 4. 2 is again smaller than 8, so I'll have to borrow 1. 12 minus 8 is 4. 4 minus 6, well, again, 4 is smaller than 6, so I have to borrow 1. So 2 becomes a 1. 14 minus 6, 8. And so the answer is 8.44. Let me do problem number 8. A full bottle of Coke weighs 53.7 grams. If the bottle is half full, it weighs 37.4 grams. What is the weight of an empty Coke bottle? Okay, so the bottle, well, if the bottle is half full, then it weighs 37.4 grams. So let's double that. And so the bottle plus half the Coke is 37.4 grams. So if you double that, then that's the same as having 2 empty bottles. Well, it's the same as having an empty bottle plus a bottle full of Coke. And that will equal, well, doubling the 37.4, that would equal 74.8. I know that a full bottle of Coke is 53.7 ounces, grams. So let's subtract that. If I subtract that, well, I get 21.1, and that's just the weight of an empty bottle. And so the weight of an empty bottle is 21.1 grams. Do problem 9. Estimate the sum. 43.56. Well, maybe I'll just do that. 16.652, 594.321 by rounding each to the nearest whole number. And so if I round each, I get 43.56 is approximately 44. 19.652 is approximately 20. And 594.321 is approximately 594. And so, let's add these together. And so, if I add these, I get 8, 15, carry the 1, that's 6. So it's approximately 658. Hey, let me do problem number 10. Jay had $315. She spent $39.54, $32.23, $105.03. Estimate the amount she had left by rounding each expense to a whole number. So let's round each expense. 39.54 is approximately 40. 32.23 is approximately 32. 105.03 is approximately 105. So that's 771. And so she originally had $315. She approximately spent $177. So let's subtract 5 minus 7. Well, it's too small, so let's borrow 1. 15 minus 7, 8. 0 minus 7, well, I've got to borrow 1 again. So that becomes 2. 10 minus 7, 3. 2 minus 1, 1. So approximately $138. So B. Let me do problem number 11. The product of 3.21, 0.007. So let's multiply. And so I get 7, 14, 22. I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so 0.02247. A yet again. Actually, that doesn't look like a 2. So let me do this again. 0.2247. That looks a little bit better. Let's multiply. 3.456.62 times 10 to the fifth. So I'm going to have to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so I need 3 more zeros. And so this should equal 3456200. Oops. 34,562,000. So that's C. Let me do problem number 13. And so 4,467.53 divided by 10 squared. So let's move my decimal 2 places. And so you get 44.6753. A. Let me do problem number 14. Betty drove her car and covered the distance of 560.9 in 8 hours. What was her speed round to the nearest tenth? Okay, so let's do that. Maybe I have enough room here. So let's divide 560.9. I'll have to go out one more place. That might be a little... So let's do 560.9. 5 is smaller than 8, so let's do 56 divided by 8, 7. So we get 0. Drop down this 0. And so 0 divided by 8 is 0. Drop down to 9. 9 divided by 8 is 1. Drop down to 0. 10 divided by 8 is 1. And so I have that the speed here is approximately 70.11. I'm going to round here to the nearest tenth. And so 1 here is smaller than 5. Therefore, this is rounded to a 70.1 miles per hour. And so B. 15. Estimate the smallest, estimate the product, 8.728 and 9.27 by using the smallest and largest estimates. So the smallest estimate for 8 is, well, 8. Okay, that's the smallest sort of estimate. The larger estimate would be 9. So for the smaller estimate, truncate. Just get rid of all the fractional part. And then for 8, then for the largest, round up no matter what. Go up to the next number. And so for 9.27, well, that's going to be a 9. It'll be estimated somewhere between 9 and 10. So the product here, if I just multiply those together, well, 8 times 9 is 72, and 9 times 10 is 90. And so the answer should be A. Estimate the product by rounding each number to a whole number. And so 1.001 is approximately 1. 0.981 is approximately 1 times 1 is 1. A. Let me do problem number 17. 7 over 10. Well, let's divide. 7 divided by 10 is going to be 0. 70 divided by 10, 7. So the answer is 0.7. B. Let me do problem 18. Which of the following statements is true? 3 over 15 is terminating. Well, 3 over 15. Divide both 3 and 15 by 3. So this is 1 over 5, which is equal to 0.2. So yes, that is indeed a terminating decimal. 5 over 50. Divide each of those by 5. Is 1 over 10. 0.1. Is a non-terminating decimal. Well, that's wrong. No, it's terminating. Therefore, only P is true. And so A. Compute 1.17 plus 1.3 times 1.2 minus 1.31. Well, first let me multiply. So maybe I'll do that equal. So let's multiply 1.3 times 1.2. And so 26, 13, 156. They're two decimals, so 1.56. So 1.17 plus 1.56 minus 1.31. So let's add 1.17. And so you get 13, carry the 1. 7, 2. 2.73 minus 1.31. And so 2, 4, 1, 1.41. 1.42. C. Let me do problem number 20. So this is equal to 7 minus 3.5 divided by 0.7 times 8.3. I'll do what's inside the parentheses, and so subtraction exponent. I'll do the exponent first. 2 cubed is 8. Well, let me do again what's inside the parentheses. So 7 minus 3.5 divided by 0.7. 8.3 minus 8 is 0.3. Next, I have here subtraction, division, multiplication. So division, multiplication, I have the same priority. So I'll go left to right. So I'll do the division. 3.5 divided by 0.7. Let me move my decimal one place to the right. So 35 divided by 7, 5. And so I have here 7 minus 5 times 0.3. Well, 5 times 0.3 is 1.5. 7 minus 1.5 is, well, let me borrow. 10 minus 5 is 5. 6 minus 1 is 5. So 5.5. B. Let me do problem number 21. The average of, well, first let me find the sum. And so let's add. Let's do that. Let's add 5.67 plus 7.6 plus 2.99. And so there'll be, let me put a 0 here. 16, carry the 1. 22, carry the 2. 14. Oops. 16. Oops. And so the average is, well, you add all these numbers together. All divided by their 3 numbers, which is just equal to 16.26 divided by 3. So let me do that. So 16.26 divided by 3. No, 5, 4, 2, 5.42. C. Let me do problem number 22. Jane, Bob, Mary compared their salaries for a particular week. They found that their average salary was $823.50. If Bob made $456.25, Jane made $789.55. What was Mary's salary for the week? So let's add Jane plus Bob plus Mary. Find their average, so divide by 3. That should equal, well, their average was $823.50. And so let's add these. And so let's add the 789.55 and the 456.25. So you get a 0, 8, 15, carry the 1, 14, carry the 1, 12, and so you get 12, 45, 80 plus your M over 3 is $823.50. Let me multiply both sides of my equation by 3. So the 3's cancel. So you get 1245.8 plus M equals, well, multiplying by 3, I get 2470.5. Subtract 1245.8 from both sides of your equation. So you found that Mary has a weekly salary of, so that's 7, let's add the 0, 5, 2, 1. So 1,220. Oh, you stupid. I had to borrow one from this. So that's a 4. And so the answer is D. $1,224.70. Let me do problem number 23. So let me multiply both sides of my equation by 2.1. And so the 2.1s cancel. So I get x. Oops. Multiply by 3, so 6.3. Okay. Equals. Oh, actually, it'll be easier to do this. Let's do this first and make the numbers slightly smaller. Let me subtract 0.3 from both sides of my equation. So x over 2.1 is equal to 4.06. Let me multiply both sides of my equation by 2.1. So if I do that, the 2.1s cancel. And I'm going to get 8.5626 just by multiplying those together. And so you get C. 24. Combine like terms. So you're going to get 0.37x minus 5.895 equals 4.3x. Subtract 0.37x from both sides of your equation. And so you get negative 5.895 equals 3.93x. Divide both sides of the equation by 3.93. Negative divided by positive is negative, and you get a 1 and half of that, so 1.5. And so that is C. Let me do problem number 25. Linda had 569.57 in her checking account. She went shopping, wrote checks for 23.95, 980, 102.45. How much does she have left in her account? So let's add up all your checks. 23.95, 980, 102. 45. So if I add that, you get 10, carry the 1. 22, carry the 2. 16, carry the 1. And so 136.20. Let's subtract that from how much she had. So originally it was 560, 957. Subtract 136.20. So 73334. So $433.37. D. Let me do problem 26. Mark traveled 85.53 miles on a bicycle in 8.9 hours. What was his average speed to the 10th? And so you would just do the distance he traveled, 85.53, divide that by 8.9. And so let's move my decimal one place to the right. I have to move my decimal in the dividend also one place to the right. So I have here 89,855.3. I want to round to nearest tenth, so I need to go out one additional place. 8 divided 8 is smaller than 89. 85 is smaller than 89. 855. 9 times 89, 801. And so I have here 54. Drop down to 3. 543 divided by 89, 6. 534. So 9. Drop down to 0. 1. 89. 1. And then you keep going. And so the speed is approximately 9.61 miles per hour. Let's round to the nearest tenth. Well, the digit immediately to its right is a 1. Therefore, this rounds to 9.6 miles per hour. B. 27. Secretary type 50 words per minute for 50 minutes. 40 words per minute for 40 minutes. 70 words per minute for 100 minutes. So that's the total number of words. What was their average typing rate of words per minute? So this is the total number of words. Let's figure out the total number of minutes. So 50 minutes plus 40 minutes plus 100 minutes. So that's 2,500 plus 1,600 plus 7,000. And that's 190. And so that's equal to 11,100 over 190. Well, let's round to your answer nearest whole number. Okay, so let's do that. Let me get a little more space here. And so 11100. Let me get rid of at least one of the zeros so it doesn't look as long. Divide that by 19. 1 is smaller than 19. 11 is smaller than 19. 111. 5. So 111. And we'll want to do this nearest whole number. There are 3 ones. Okay, so that's okay. And so 100. Yeah. 11,000. So 5. That's got to be 100. Yeah, I put it in the wrong place. 5, 45, 95. Okay. And so subtract that. 16. Drop down to 0. That'll be 8. And so that'll be 72, 152, 8. Drop down to 0. 4, 72, 76. 4. Okay, so it's approximately 58.4. And so, rounding to the nearest whole number, 4 is less than or equal to, is less than 5. So this is approximately 58 words per minute, which is A. 28. Evaluate the square root of 16. 4. Square root of 25. 5. B. Find the length of a ladder needed to reach a point 16 feet high in a wall. If the ladder is to be placed 8 feet from the wall, let's call it X. And so that'll be A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And you want to round to the nearest whole number. Okay, so why don't I include another page? Okay, so let me include I can draw this a little bit bigger then. So you are how far? 8 feet away and 16 feet high. I want to figure out X feet. Okay, so I know that so see below. By Pythagorean's theorem, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Therefore, 8 squared plus 16 squared is X squared. And so 64 plus 256 is X squared. So 320. So X is equal to the square root of 320. And so let's figure that out. Again, I can do either the Vedic method or the old Babylonian method. I guess I'll do the Babylonian method. So And I want to round this to nearest whole number. So let's add 2 more zeros. Okay. And so 1 times 1 is 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. Drop down to 20. 1 times 2 is 2. And so I guess I'll need a 7. 27 times 7 is 189. Subtract 220 minus 189, 31. Drop down to 2 zeros. 17 times 2 is 34. So I need an extra digit here. 348. That'll give you 64, 38, 27. Subtract 316. So therefore, x is approximately 17.8. And so let's round this to nearest whole number. So this is approximately 18 feet. A. They seem to all be A. Let me do problem 20. Find the perimeter. So to find the perimeter, you just have to add. And so I'll just add 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus 6. That's 20. And so B, 20 meters. Let me do problem 31. It costs $2,100 to tile a floor that is 4 by 6. How much does it cost to tile a floor that's 11 by 13? So let's look at that below. So 31. And so it's going to be 2,100, and that's a 7 by 6. And 11 by 13. Okay, so note that 7 times 6 is 42. 11 times 13 is 143. Let's cross multiply. And so I get I get 42x is equal to 2,100 times 143. And so I get that 42x equals 143 times 2,100. Is 0. Let's add this. 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, 3. So 300, 300 divide by 42. So let me do that. And so I get 7, 14, 29, 63. So 1, 42, 21, 5, 0. And so the answer is 7150. And so 31, 7150, C. What is the length of the following, length of the radius of the following figure? Well, the length of the diameter is 16. A diameter is just twice the radius. So twice the radius is 16. Divide both sides of your equation by 2. So the radius is half. 8. Those are centimeters. A. 33. In the figure, C is the center of the circle enclosed inside a square. The sides of the square are 12 inches. Find the ratio of the area of the square, of the area of the circle to the area of the square. Well, the area of a circle of radius r is pi r squared. The area of a square, I'm going to try to draw, that's supposed to denote the fact that it's circular. The area of a square is just the length of each side squared. And so I want to find the ratio of the area of the circle to the area of the square. Well, if the total distance here is 12, then half the distance is going to be half this distance here will be 6. Therefore, the area of the circle is just pi times 6 squared. The area of the square is just 12 squared. So this is 36 pi over 144. I can divide both 36 and 144 by 36. And so this is just pi over 4. C. Let me do problem 34. Yes, you will have to know these formulas. Okay? So, but it's just like, but those are, you have the area. Actually, these are formulas that we've done in previously. So the areas of a circle, the area of a square. We did those probably about 2 or 3 chapters ago. Okay? So you will need to know those. Find the volume of a rectangular solid. Well, it turns out that the volume is just length times width times height. So all you have to do is just multiply these all together. And so 5 times 3 times 7. 5 times 3 is 15 times 7 is 105. And these are cubic inches. B. 35. Find the volume of a cube. The volume of a cubed is just s cubed. And so 7 cubed. 7 times 7 times 7 is 343. And these are in feet, so cubic feet. B. 36. Find the percent equivalent of 11 over 20. Well, percent just means to divide by 100. So let's cross multiply. And so 20x equals 1100. Divide both sides of your equation by 20. And so x is equal to, well, 110 divided by 2 is 55. So the answer is 55%. D. 37. Write 2.5% as a completely reduced fraction. 2.5 is the same as 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5 halves. Percent means divide by 100. So 1 over 100. 100 divided by 5 is 20. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 20 is 40. And so 1 over 40, A. Express 15 over 4 as a percent. Well, recall that percent just means to, actually, let's do this. Let's take 4 and divide it by 15. 3. That's a 12. 15 minus 12 is 3. Drop down to 0. 7. 28. Add another 0, 20. So 5. 0. So this is equal to 3.75. I want to write it as a percent, so let me move my decimal 2 places over. And so I get 370, I get 375%. And so my answer is B. 39. Write the reduced fraction percent form of 370. And so, this is the same as move my decimal 2 places to the right. So 370. Oh, write the reduced fraction and the percent form. Oops, I misread that. So let's write the reduced fraction form. Well, this is the same as 370 over 1 to 100. And move my decimal 2 places to the right, so I get 370%. Oh, they reduced it. Okay, so let me rewrite this. I didn't see that. So this is the same as 3.7, which is 37 over 10. Okay, or move my decimal 2 places to the right, so 370%. And so the answer is B. 37 over 10, or and same as 370%. Let me do problem number 40. Citibank charges a rate of 0.092% on auto loans, while Wachovia Bank charges 8.5% interest. Which of the two rates is higher? Well, let's rewrite 0.092 as a percent. And so let me move my decimal 2 places over. So this is 9.2% as compared to 8.5%. And so which one is higher? So that's Citi has a higher rate. Wachovia is only 8.5%. So that's cheaper. Let me do problem 41. 75% of, remember of means multiply, 310. Let me rewrite percent as a decimal, 0.75 times 310. Let's multiply. Let's move that over. So I multiply 0, 5, 15, 0, 7, 21, 0, 5, 12, carry the 1, 3, 2. There are 2 decimals. And so 232.5. C. Let me do problem 42. A $400 investment is now worth $720. The new value is what percent of the original? And so 720 divided by 400. So let's do that. One. Add another 0. 8. That's equal to 1.8. And one will write it as a percent. So let's move a decimal place 2 places over. And so 180%. So B, 180%. 43. The fraction below is equivalent to the ratio of 0.08 to 28. Well, let's move my decimal 2 over. So I'm going to have to add 2 more zeros. And so 8 over 2800. Let's divide each of these by 8. So that'll be a 1, and that's going to be a 350. So this is equal to 1 over 350. So the answer is C. Peter planted 100 seeds and only 57% of them grew. How many seeds did not grow? Well, if 57% grew, then 43% did not grow. And so 43% of 100 is 43. So A, 45. Mike attended a school for 8 days out of 20 days in a month. What percent approximate of the 20 days was he absent? Well, first he was absent So he only attended 20 days, 8 days out of the 20. So he was absent for 12 days. So, so of the 20 days, he attended 8 of them. So he was absent for 12. And so what was his percent that he was absent? Well, 12 out of the 20 days, which is, I can, well, let's do this. Let's multiply by 5. So that's 60 over 100, which is 60%, since percent is same as division by 100. So he was absent for 60% of the days. That's a lot. 46. At 7% sales tax, the total. Why did I multiply by 5? I could have just divided 12 divided by 20 to get zero point 0.6. Or what I could have done is, in this case, see what do I have to multiply 20 by in order to get 100. So if I multiply 20 by 5, I'll get 100. So, is that clear? Okay. Let me do problem number 46. At 7% sales tax, the total price of a color television set whose mark price is $340. So your mark price is $340. But in addition to that, you have a tax. So 7% of your sale price of 340 is taxed. So let's multiply that out. And so 340 times 7. So 0, 28, carry the 2, 23, and so 238. And so those give you 500 and, oh, you stupid. This is 0.07, not 70%. You don't have a 70% tax. You have a 7% tax. And so $23.80. It's only $23. And so that's 363.80. So $363.80 is B. Let me do problem number 47. The value of stocks that are worth $3,000 decreased by 7%. And so you had, let's figure out what 7% of, well, let's figure out what 7% of 3,000 is. And so let's multiply that out. So I get 0, 0, 0, 21, and I move 2 places. That's $210. And so I started with $3,000. I then had a decrease of 7%, which was $210. Okay, and so if I do that, I get $2,790. Now, after that, they then went up by 10%. And so let's find what is 10% of 2790. Hopefully it's 279. And so you get 0.972. And so you started with 2790. You then had an increase of 10%, another $279. And so that's going to equal 2790 plus 279 is 916, carry the 1, 0, 3. So 3069. So now it is worth so now your stock is worth $3,069. What was the total increase in the value of stock? So you went from $3,000 to $3,069. So to find the increase, you just subtract. 3,069 minus 3,000 is $69. So you made $69. 48. Dave, Mike, Dennis went out to eat at a local restaurant. The gratuity for the service was 10%. If Dave's meal came to $7.50, Mike's meal came to $8, Dennis's meal came to $9, so they had spent a total of $24.50. Determine the gratuity for the 3 meals. So let's multiply this by 10%. Let me just get rid of all those zeros because I don't need to multiply by those zeros. Let me get rid of the zeros. Good, that looks better. And so if I do that, I get 5, 4, 2, and I move it over 2 places. So the answer is $2.45. D. 49. Lots of room now. Oh, I see. Okay, 49. A bank pays 11% interest on a savings account of $15,000. If the money is left in the bank for 1 year, how much money will be in the account at the end of 1 year? So let's figure out the interest. So $15,000. And I have 11% interest. So let's multiply by 11.11. So I get 15,000. Add another 0. So 15,000. Add 5, 6, 1, 2 zeros. 1,650. So that's how much money you made. You have the original 15,000. $15,000. You made $1,650. Let's see how much is now in your account. So 0, 5, 6, 6, 1. $16,650. A. Seems like every answer is A. Question? Sure, sure. So you started with $15,000. You had a 11% interest rate that you and so on the first year you made 11% of that 15,000, but you also still had your original 15,000, and so you multiply 15,000 times 11%, which I just did here, and then I add to that and so that means that in the first year I made $1,650, and so in my account, there's the original $15,000 plus the $1,650 that I made from interest. So this is my interest. And this is my original. Plus your interest is the amount you actually have in the account. Any questions about that? Okay. Let me do problem number 50. Find the simple interest rate that will be necessary to get a 50% return. Well, let's see. What is 50%? 50% of $500 is $250. in 2 years. And so you originally put in $500 for 2 years at an interest rate of R% per year. Let's figure out what the interest rate has to be. And so 2 times 500 is 1,000. Divide both sides of my equation by 1,000. And so R is equal to 0.25. Therefore, writing R in percent, let me move my decimal 2 places to the right. So I get 25%. Therefore, you need a interest rate of 25% per year in order to get a 50% return in 2 years. Obviously, it makes sense. In order to get 50%, you have to get 25% per year if you do it in 2 years. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. Uh, any questions in general? No. Okay. Uh, if there are no questions at the moment, then I guess that's it for right now. And then, well, you can always ask on Monday, I guess, or 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 email me or something. Okay. I guess that's it, and I will see you guys on Monday. Okay, so I'm going to delete you.